The night buzzed with the sound of laughter, the pulsing beat of music reverberating through the air, a celebration of joy. But hidden in the shadows, something much darker was stirring. September 21st was about to change everything for two men, Alberto Medina and his friend Eric. Just another night out. But soon, it would be anything but. At first, everything felt so harmless. The drinks were flowing, the conversations carefree. They laughed, the world seemed far away, and for a moment, it felt like nothing could go wrong. But for Alberto, there was something stirring inside, something he didn't even recognize yet. But it was there, just beneath the surface. Alberto, slurring, frustrated. She doesn't know what she's missing. Eric, drunken, laughing. Laughs, man, chill. You gotta let it go. There's always next time. Alberto, cutting him off, biting. Next time. Pulse, it's never gonna happen. You don't get it. He wasn't just drunk. He was angry, humiliated. The woman he tried to talk to had rejected him. And now, they were laughing. She was laughing with someone else. Alberto could feel it. Every chuckle from her was a jab to his fragile ego. It was a crack, small but deep enough to send a fracture through his calm. And like that, it snapped. But at least for now, he pretended to brush it off. He told himself it wasn't a big deal. He tried to laugh along, but as the hours wore on, that rage festered in him. What would have been a small sting to most became a wound in Alberto's psyche, a rejection. To him, it was something much larger, something to conquer, to fix. It wasn't just a party anymore, it was a challenge, a situation that had to be corrected. As the night wore down, they decided to leave around midnight, but little did they know, their next stop would change everything. It wasn't an escape, it wasn't a retreat from the madness, it was the beginning. And for another unsuspecting young woman, Andy Del Vasco, this night, it would cost her everything. Meanwhile, just across the street, Julio's local recycling man continued his early morning rounds, unaware of the darkness approaching, pushing his cart, clanking cans along the sidewalk. Life always keeps moving, doesn't it? He spotted the car, two guys, laughing, louder than expected for that hour of the night. Alberto leaned out, his grin wild, almost too bright. Alberto smirking, with a dangerous edge. You know how to fight. I'm heading to a woman's apartment, but I don't know if there's someone else inside. Julio could sense something was off, but it was strange-odd, and he kept walking. He didn't stop, didn't think twice. Sometimes we miss the signs, don't we? Unsolved crimes, shocking truths, forgotten mysteries. Welcome to Legends Lessons, where every story uncovers a deeper truth. By 5 a.m., things were already set into motion. Alberto and Eric reached their destination, a quiet street, unsuspecting, peaceful, but Julio would witness it quiet before the storm. Watching Alberto from across the street, standing in the shadows, lurking. But this wasn't by chance. Nothing was ever random for him. Alberto hadn't come here by accident. He knew what he wanted. And Andy, she wasn't some innocent target. She had been chosen. At 5:50 a.m., the nightmare began. Andy woke up to the early calm of the morning, the soft rustle of her dog's paws against the floor. Routine, a moment of peace before the world would never be the same again. But then, the creak of a door, so small, so subtle, a shift, something not right, a strange presence. Through the crack, Alberto saw his chance, and he took it. Why her? Why Andy? Pause, sigh. It's a question we can't really answer, but maybe it's the tragedy we don't always understand. Or maybe it was just his rage, his frustration bubbling over. Whatever it was, Her life ended the moment he stepped into her apartment. And he fought back with every ounce of strength in her desperation, a final attempt to survive. But it wasn't enough. The blood on the floor, fight, all futile in the end. Amidst the chaos, Sarah, her roommate, made the agonizing decision. She had to call 911, every breath choked in fear, her voice faltering, cracking under the weight of what was happening. Sarah's voice shaking, frantic. Please, please, someone, anyone. I don't know what happened, but she's pulse. She's hurt bad. But the first responders weren't as fast as they should have been. By 6:23 a.m., the officers arrived. But what they didn't do was the fatal mistake. They never knocked. They didn't check for signs of life. They just moved on. And when they came back, it was too late for anything. Later, during the investigation, they discovered something chilling. Alberto hadn't just killed her in a moment of blind rage. No, stayed. He waited. It's hard to imagine, but after Andy's life was stolen from her, he was hiding nearby, quiet, watching. Inside his apartment, evidence was unmistakable. The blood-soaked knife, her tank top, her undergarments, a bloody blanket. No remorse, just cold, calculated. And so began the trial. But it was just the start of the pain for Andy's family. The wound too deep, too real. Alberto would pay, but for them, there was no justice, just a hollow victory in an unjust world. 3 years later, the final verdict was read: first-degree murder, life without parole. But for Andy's loved ones, it didn't end there. Eric served only a fraction of time. A reminder that the system sometimes fails to acknowledge the weight of these acts. And, of course, the death of Shathy loyal dog, Andy's companion. And what of the earlier encounter? That brief walk with Shay. A moment in passing. Could it have all been planned from that instant? The questions remain unanswered, unhealed. The lingering thought, what if the police had acted differently that night? Could they have saved her? Could they have at least tried harder? But Andy's family, there is no peace for them, no closure, no end. And in all the horror, amidst it all, there remains something simple, pure, the love between Andy and her dog. In the face of a world gone wrong, that bond, however small, held the last trace of comfort.